Welcome to Brain Alpha. Are you feeling stuck? Like you're constantly trying to fix yourself, but just not getting anywhere? Well, today we're diving into a really powerful philosophy from the book, Mastering the Art of Rebuilding Your Life, and it offers a totally different path.
So let's just start with a question that probably hits home for a lot of us. Are you just plain exhausted by that constant pressure to hustle more, to grind harder, to basically become this productivity machine that never, ever gets tired? Yeah, me too.
Right away, the author just tosses out that typical get motivated advice. The idea here isn't to find some quick burst of energy, because that's like a fire, right? It's intense, but it always burns out. The real goal is to build a solid, sustainable structure for your life, something that can actually withstand the bad days and keep you going for the long haul.
And that insight leads us directly to the first big idea we need to tackle, understanding a really common pitfall of self-improvement, what the book calls the self-help trap.
So here's the fundamental problem with so many self-help approaches. They push this idea that you have to become a completely new, totally flawless person. But you know what? Chasing that impossible ideal is just a recipe for burnout, not some big breakthrough. It basically sets you up for failure right from the get-go.
Okay, so if trying to become a whole new person is the trap, what's the alternative? This is where the book offers this huge shift in perspective, and honestly, it's both radical and incredibly freeing. This right here is the core mindset shift. It is not about erasing who you are and starting over from scratch. No way. It's about working with what you've already got. So instead of trying to just eliminate your so-called weaknesses, you learn how to leverage your strengths. And maybe most importantly, you accept where you are right now as the starting point, instead of constantly rejecting your current self.
And this reframes your flaws in such a fascinating way. See, they aren't defects, they're actually valuable traits that are just being overused or misapplied. The book calls it the rampage of a strength. So think about it, that high sense of responsibility you have, it's amazing, but when it runs unchecked, it leads directly to burnout. Or deep empathy, what a gift, but without managing it, it can make it almost impossible to set healthy boundaries.
All right, so with this new mindset in place, how do we actually start making changes? Well, the process isn't about some grand, sweeping gesture. It actually begins by quietly redesigning our inner world, our daily system of operation.
And this is a total game changer. We're always told to manage our time better, but that's focusing on the wrong thing. The real finite resource we need to protect is our attention. I mean, think about it. Your future is literally being shaped by what you choose to focus on, day in and day out. So maybe the most important skill you can develop is learning what to ignore.
So how do you build habits that actually stick? Not with brute force willpower, but with smart design. First, you start ridiculously small. I mean, so small it feels almost silly, like doing one single push-up. The goal is just to eliminate resistance. Second, focus only on showing up. Consistency is so much more important than perfection. And finally, and this is a brilliant concept, you build resumable habits. Because, let's be real, you are going to fall off the wagon. A truly good habit isn't one you never break. It's one that's just incredibly easy to get back to.
Now, this approach of working with yourself instead of against yourself also applies to your feelings. Instead of seeing our emotions as these commands we have to obey, we can learn to see them as messengers. That flash of anger, that might just be information that a boundary has been crossed. That nod of anxiety, it could be a signal that you're facing some uncertainty. The key is just creating a little space to interpret the message before you react.
So once you start redesigning your internal system, you can apply the exact same principles of intentional design to your external world. And a great place to start is with one of the most important areas of life, your relationships.
Healthy relationships don't just happen by accident. They're built with intention. And that means setting clear boundaries, not to push people away, but to clarify where your responsibility ends and theirs begins. It means having the courage to actually communicate your needs instead of just hoping people will read your mind. And it also means recognizing that sometimes the healthiest and most compassionate choice is to create distance from relationships that just aren't good for you anymore.
What's so beautiful about this entire approach is that it doesn't require some massive life-altering event to get started. It's all about making one small, intentional shift in your direction, and the long-term impact of that one tiny change can be absolutely staggering.
This is just such a perfect metaphor, isn't it? At the very beginning of a journey, the difference between a ship heading north and one heading just slightly southeast is almost impossible to see. They're right next to each other.
But you give them enough time, and that tiny difference in direction leads them to completely different worlds. That right there is the power of the small, consistent changes we've been talking about.
Ultimately, this whole philosophy really boils down to asking a different and way more empowering question. So instead of getting paralyzed by the immense pressure of who should I become, we can ask something much more practical and immediate. Which direction do I want to move in right now? So the big idea to take away is this. Rebuilding your life is not about demolition and starting from scratch. It's about a single, gentle, and intentional change in direction. It's about mastering the person you already are, one small step at a time. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and help us build the hype. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.